All right, guys, I'm going to take you through a 3-way hip stretch routine that you can be doing before squatting, deadlifting, anything that's going to be a little more hip dominant in the movements that you're preparing for exercise. Really great routine. I tend to use this one a lot for myself, especially when I'm getting warmed up for CrossFit, because you never know what I'm going to get in my workouts. So what we're going to need is a band and a person and a box or a bench of some sort. So we're going to attach that band somewhere low on a rig here, something that's immovable. Some people like to wrap it up around there. That's totally fine. But from there, you want to get a band that's got pretty thick tension. Sometimes they're purple, sometimes they're green. It doesn't matter. You can pick and choose which one you like. And then what we're going to do is step right in through it and get this really high up in the groin, as high up as you can, right here through that thickness of your leg. And then I'm going to step forward nice and strong, and I'm going to put myself in an elevated pigeon. So a couple key points here is that when I'm getting into this position, I'm trying to get relaxed as much as I can so I can hold on to this box with my hands here, and I'm not going to just fold forward and flop and around my spine. I'm going to stay a little more active. If anything, I'm going to push my chest through to keep the integrity of that lordosis of my lower back, and that's going to really maximize that stretch into my left glute here. And with this traction of the band, it's going to mobilize the capsule nicely for me. If I want to make it more dynamic in nature, all I got to do is start moving just a little bit left, a little bit right. I can go forward more with my chest and come back up. If I want to make it more challenging, I take my hands away, and then I'm going to lean forward, and I'm going to come back up. I'm going to twist. But the amount of time that we want to spend doing this is about 30 seconds to a minute before our workout. And then from there, we're going to move on to our next one. Okay, so sticking with the theme with the band for my hip, I'm going to keep it low on something that's not going to move. I'm going to step back in. I'm still on the same leg, high up in the groin. I'm going to step out pretty far so I get a lot of tension in this band. I'm going to drop this back leg almost into a modified runner's lunge. And I'm really going to try to sink my left elbow down to the ground so I can experience a deep, deep stretch on the outside of my hip. The band is now tractioning my hip joint laterally, so I should experience that right here where my palm is. Okay, if you're feeling a pinch in your groin, I would back off the stretch, or I would just not do this stretch at all. It tells you that you're getting into some structures that you're not supposed to be. But again, we want to make things a little more dynamic in nature when we're warming up for a workout. So that elbow is going to go down, and I'm going to rotate up into like a dragonfly twist that you would see in yoga. So again, we're going to do this for about 30 seconds to a minute, just cycling through that, and then we move on to the next part. All right, so the last piece of the puzzle is attacking the back side of my leg and tractioning the hip capsule a little bit more along with my hamstring. So again, the band stays low, something that's not going to move. I get this high up in the groin. I'm going to step out, get a lot of tension on that band, and spread my legs nice and wide so I have a strong base. And then from there, I'm going to hinge those hips back. So my back's nice and flat, or as flat as I can make it. I'm probably going to start rounding a little bit because I'm a little stiff today. And then from there, on this leg, I'm going to stay a little more active, and I'm going to keep the knee bent, and then I'm going to straighten it out. And then I'm going to bend the knee again, and then I'm going to straighten it out. So I should be experiencing a pretty intense stretch right along my hamstring and a light stretch right here into my glute with the band tractioning backwards. So we're going to cycle through that about 30 to 40 times before a workout, and then from there you're going to hit your typical warm-up, and you're going to be crushing squats, deadlifts, anything that's going to be a pretty hip dominant movement.